Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rants alongside TK Tommy Chrysan here with you on this Wednesday Hump Day edition of Sports Shorts Daily, presented by Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, where TK is at currently on Jefferson Highway. He's over there every Wednesday, Friday, right here on Sports Shorts, and he'll tell you plenty more about Tremonti's a little bit later on in the show. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, where TK, we have been hacked for, was going back to Saturday. Our Facebook page has been hacked, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We are working with the Facebook, trying to, file all the paperwork, emails, blah, 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 to try to get back control of our Facebook account. It's maddening. In this world of social media, like,
Your volume went out. Your volume went out. I can't hear you. No volume for you. All right, Ronnie's going to jump out of there and jump back in real quick. Don't forget to like and share this show. That helps us out a lot if you like it and you share it with people, whether you're on YouTube, you're on X, you're on Facebook. Like and share this show. That helps us out a whole lot. As we wait for Ronnie Rams to jump back in. There you go. You back?
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, your Facebook page. Look, you can't reach nobody with Facebook, so you don't want to hear. But the only thing is to start a new page. You don't want to hear that. But
I'm gonna do. I've already contracted with some cyber people that have some contacts, and man, we're gonna try everything we can because I mean our Facebook page it's got over 10,000 followers and a lot of content, and it would be unbelievable. But that said, we're working on it, but we've got a Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame celebrity golf tournament May 14th at Oak Wing Country Club in Alexandria, and an event 13th and 14th. So we'll tell you about that on Friday. We'll put up the graphic and show you all the info on that if you want to come be a part of it. Really cool golf tournament's in the best shape I've ever seen it over there at Oak Wing in Alexandria. So a lot of things to get to, right? We've got LSU women's basketball. Their dream of making it back to the Final Four and going back to back on national championships comes to an end. Caitlin Clark cements her place as the greatest college basketball player I've ever seen. Definitely she's the best player the last couple of seasons. But what she did, almost had a triple double, scored over 40 points against LSU, was sensational. Also, the Pelicans not playing like Caitlin Clark. They could use her right now. The Pels have lost three out of four at home, which is not a good thing. They've got two left home series tonight against the Magic, and then on Friday against the Spurs. LSU baseball, wow. 59-4 now all time against the Southern Jaguars. They lost on Monday to Southern. I'll tell you about that game because many of you didn't watch because you were watching LSU and Iowa in basketball. I don't blame you, but I did the game and I've got some thoughts. Can tell you about it. LSU's in a world of hurt. They take on Vanderbilt this weekend. Vandy did not play this week as a rain out. They're seventh ranked in the country. We'll talk about maybe some problems and what LSU maybe can do to turn things around baseball wise. I like the new rules that are being put in place. Does it make a difference? Tommy will tell you about it. And uh, uh, Astros. How about this? I mean, Astros are 0-4 to start the season. Oh my God, the sky is falling. What's going on with the Astros? Bam, no hitter. They get in the win column. I mean, who has a no hitter to get their first win of the season? That's incredible. Tommy will tell you more about that as well. But let's start with LSU women's hoops. It was one of the highest rated games ever. You know, we knew that was going to be the case. But the fallout after the game was this. I mean, it was this fake story. I don't know how you feel about it, but this fake story that ran that LSU walked off the court during the national anthem, and there's a photo of Iowa on the court for the anthem, LSU not on the court, and everybody's under the assumption that there's this anthem protest thing going on, which is not the case. Couldn't be further from the truth. And unfortunately, like once the genie's out of the bottle, nobody listens to the retraction.
Well, it's very unfortunate because USC and UConn, neither of those teams were on the floor for their game for the anthem. I mean, it's as much ado about nothing. I mean, there's a routine. Kim Mulkey's done it for decades. When it's 12 minutes, the clock counts down to the tip off. There's 12 minutes left. They go in the locker room, finish pregame preparation. So, for the media to run with this, man, LSU was the national champion last year, and it's a target on your back. It's just foolish. And you have so many people commenting who don't know the situation. They don't know the context. They don't know the story. Cody Worsham put out the statement on behalf of LSU. I mean, much ado about nothing. I mean, it should be about Caitlin Clark at 41 points and 12 assists. And, her team losing to LSU last year, turning around, winning this year. That's what the story should be about. And unfortunately, it wasn't. I mean, there are a lot of people embarrassed themselves, making comments when they didn't know what they were talking about. It's like when these news shows try to start talking sports and they butcher everything, because they don't know the lingo, they don't know the jargon, they don't know the routine. So a lot of people embarrass themselves, and it is what Kim Mulkey doesn't care. She's going to keep doing what she wants to do. All elite coaches do that. They have a routine, they stick to it, and I think it was much ado about nothing with this anthem thing.
Well, the thing is, Tommy, is that thing is about this is we're all guilty at times of seeing a headline, and there's that first reaction to go, "Oh my God, I can't believe." But if you read the article, then you realize, oh, okay, they just did a headline to try to get my attention. It worked. And then you read the article and realize, okay, that's not at all connected. Like, it's just a headline to grab your attention. And that you would think, I get it as individuals, as individual people. But I mean, nowadays we've got too much history. We've got too much knowledge. We know about clickbait. We know that a lot of the things on the internet, you have to fact check. You have to take a beat, think about it, maybe do a research check to see if it's real. And I get it as individuals overreacting, but for entities, for journalists, for publications, for bloggers, people that do this for a living, that make money, for them to proliferate, to put out there this lie, right? I mean, and then there's no there's no fallback. There's nothing that happens if there's no oops, sorry. There's nobody to slap your hand. There's no punishment. There's no repercussions for being wrong, or it's super frustrating right now. LSU's women's basketball, clearly they need to come out in black uniforms next year because they're the villains. I mean, they need to change their colors from purple and gold to purple and black, and be like the Smoke Laval's favorite color, and be the villains, because that's how they're being perceived the last few weeks for sure.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of people that, I'm surprised at the national journalists. There needs to be a way to have some kind of recourse, not just for LSU's women's team, but across the sports world, when people clearly put out false information and they conduct their narrative. And, we see it in the political world, we see it in the sports world, and I just think people have to decide for themselves, what's the source? Is there any credibility to here? And if it's something that bothers you, dive into it and find out if there's any credibility. It's just unfortunate that LSU, was 12.3 million people watching the game. That's great for the women's basketball. It's great for LSU. Skip Berman always talks about the brand. That's great for LSU, the university, the athletic department. And then to have this on the heels of that, it's just craziness.
Speaking of, yeah, I mean, 12.3 is incredible. So LSU women lose. The one I will say, I didn't particularly love the whole Angel Reese with the crown.
That was
oh God, like
that was awful. That she needs to be reprimanded for that. That was, you played a victim card. But why not you say, "Good job, Iowa. Good luck."
I'm kind of, I try to be patient. I try to be, to absorb it, to realize at 51, I don't feel like I'm old, but I guess I am. And I have come from a different era, and I look at things that a person 30 years younger than me is doing, and I've got to try to be patient and understand, hey, I'm sure you did things when you were 21 that people were 51 thought was silly. But like, uh, it, just can't. It's just so hard. It's so hard. It's just so much me, 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 me. I. You know, Rachel Reese in our press conference talked about when I won the national
Yeah.
championship last year. You know, I haven't been happy since. Not we. When we
Yeah.
won the national
Well,
championship, when I won the national championship, like
the
it's
other thing, Ronnie,
so
she
much.
said she had threats on her life. Did you contact the police? Did you file a police report? She didn't, because
Right.
WBRZ would have that. So she lied. I mean, okay. And, you know, again, selfish. It was completely selfish. No regard for her teammates, no regard for LSU, no regard for the opponent. Iowa that just, you know, won the most viewed women's basketball game, period, ever. And then, you know, had to inject herself into the story. That was embarrassing.
Um. All right. So be curious to see. Like, this off season, I'm curious to see what LSU women's basketball does. Will Van Leith come back? Because
She's got to decide about tonight, her and Reese.
oh, so they have to decide about tonight. Well,
They got till 8:30 tonight to declare for the NBA draft, which the WNBA draft, which is April 15th. The rules states when your team's eliminated, you got 48 hours to declare.
okay.
So they have till 8:30, 9 o'clock tonight to declare their intentions of we're going to return to LSU or declare for the draft.
That is that's kind of crazy, right? That's a crazy timeline because you're so emotional. There's so many emotions flowing you know, one way or the other. You know, you just had heartbreak. There's only one team that finishes the season happy. So, I mean, like, it's kind of a weird deal. I don't know how that plays. You would think on paper, having to make a decision 48 hours within losing with your teammates that you love and are your best friends, that it would make you want to come back to redeem, you know, to avenge that loss, to, you know, and versus if you take a couple weeks and you're able to be you know, not see your teammates anymore and be around agents and advisors and all that, you know, then you start to distance yourself and start to think about. So I would think that it benefits LSU in this situation if you want to keep them both, and I don't know why they wouldn't want to keep them both.
Well, Chance points out the rookie salary in the WNBA is $72,000 a year. Reese made $1.8 million this year. Van Leith's got a contract. I don't know the numbers. They'd make more money to stay at LSU.
It's not even. But look, they're gonna make. I mean, we know Angel Reese is, you know, because of her following on social media and her name recognition and brand, she's gonna make lots of money in the WNBA. The question is, and I don't know the answer to this because I don't know NIL well enough to understand it. Will she make $1.8 million playing for the Phoenix Mercury, right? Or is she make $1.8 million because a lot of that is tied to her being in college and playing at LSU? Um, I don't know the answer to that because if the answer is the same, then we're just talking about $70,000, you know, and she doesn't have to go to class, you know, like that's. Um, so I don't know, but I can tell you this, in my opinion, she's ready for the NBA, WNBA. But I mean, is Haley Van Leith? Is Haley Van Leith going to go to the WNBA and really make an impact?
Well, she played out of position. That's the counterbalance to that. She's a two guard, not a shooting guard. But basketball, men and women, has become positionless. You don't have the post. You don't have the power forward, the small forward. You know, it's people play all over the floor. I don't think Reese can play in the WNBA because she can't shoot. I mean, she literally cannot shoot. Now she can rebound and block shots, but she cannot shoot. So it'd be interesting to see what their decision is. And personally, my opinion, Reese doesn't care about her teammates because she's all about herself. So we'll see what happens. Time will tell.
All right, we move on. Pelicans, by the way, 3.5-point favorite tonight at home. You can go to LeBear's Casino. LeBear's Casino, the great sports book, and go place your bet. Have some good dinner over there. 18 Steak is also open for all those special events. Check out LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge, our great presenting sponsor. LSU baseball, the sky has fallen, Tommy, and that's not an exaggeration. They're 2-7. They lose to Southern. it's a rite of passage, right? If you lose to Southern as an LSU coach, and okay, now you're in the books because they beat Skip, they beat Smoke, they beat Jay, they beat Paul Maneri. Like, it's crazy how their 4 wins have come against 4 different coaches in different eras. But that is the case. 59-4 all time LSU against Southern. I can remember when I played for Skip, he'd be like, "Hey, we haven't lost yet, but it's inevitable we're going to lose, but not tonight, not tonight." Um, but this loss was super embarrassing. By the way, the 2 relievers both played for the Rougarou at times in 2022. And Antoine Harris, who got credit for the win in the middle, Antoine Harris had an ERA of 12 coming into the game, okay, and threw 4 innings and beat LSU. This is a team in Southern that literally had no stats, Tommy. I did a game with 0 stats. They had no stats. They are so dysfunctional over there in their SID department that they literally had no stats. I had about 12 Jimmy Johnson sophomore. That's all I had. Okay. I had to go like look in some box scores and try to like at least be able to say, oh, this past weekend Johnny had a good game. He went 4 for 5 on Saturday, like that kind of thing. Like, unbelievable. But a team that school that cares so little, they don't even have updated stats. All right. They beat LSU. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's LSU got 4 hits and committed 3 errors. 4 hits and 3 errors, and lost to Southern, who is a less than 500 team. Although they're playing well in their conference, I believe they were 61 in conference play. But this should not happen. I mean, LSU's got a lot of problems, and here's what you said this the other day. Can Jay Johnson correct it? What can he do to correct it? He's banned cell phones for the players from the locker room and the field, that they're focusing attention. I think they're thinking too much, okay? All the players, pitchers, catchers, hitters. And Ronnie, I remember the great Carl Yastrzemski famous quote said, the only time he does not think about baseball is when he's playing it. Okay, think about that. The only time he doesn't think about baseball is when he's playing the game. You just go play the game. Trust yourself. Trust your ability to hit. Trust your ability to make plays. You're playing at LSU in the SEC for a reason. You're a very good baseball player. You're one of the best college players in the country. And you start thinking, and maybe Jay Johnson's overcoaching with all these timeouts. And let him play. Skip used to say that right out the lineup card. Let him go play. And then correct when you have to correct. So I just think they're thinking too much. And thinking in baseball is dangerous. You have to react. You have to play. You have to be able to turn the page when you fail, because you're going to fail. That's my 2 cents worth. I don't know it. I'm not in the clubhouse. I'm not in the dugout. I'm not at practice. But it appears they're just thinking too much, whether they're at the plate, running their bases, trying to catch, ground balls, fly balls. Just relax and play the game. Like Roger Clemens said, you're going to suck at baseball. You just have to suck less than everybody else. And LSU right now is not sucking less than everybody else.
I love the no cell phone policy. And look, he's just digging. He's just trying to shake it up. He's trying to change it up. He's trying to do something different because he doesn't know how to prepare. He's got his system. He's got his way of doing things. It's worked for him most of his career. And now he's at a place where he's got stud athletes. They're not performing up to their abilities. What do you do? Well, you got to change it up in some way. And one of the things that he's doing is banning cell phones from the locker room in the ballpark, which I like. It's going to be interesting. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, Tommy, in that locker room, because now you've got guys that are going to have withdrawals. And that's a real thing, because these kids these days at 18 to 22 years old are addicted to their cell phone, and they are going to have withdrawals. They are not going to know what to do when they're sitting in a locker room or in that player's lounge and not be on their phone or have that phone in their hand. These guys don't like, they got to have a conversation. They got to get to know their teammates. They got to joke and tell stories and all the things that they've never done before. I know that sounds ridiculous, but think about it. When these guys are in a locker room nowadays, unless they are the 2 that are playing a video game because it's their turn and they're up on the screen, or unless they're in a meeting with their coaches, or unless they're showering or putting on their clothes, they are on their phone 24/7. And the fact that now they have to like figure out how to have a conversation is sort of refreshing. I'm curious to see what the comments are from the players when they get asked by the media about it and all that kind of stuff, because it is going to be life changing, because these guys have grown up with a cell phone in their hands, not knowing how to interact with other human beings, and it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, Vanderbilt's licking their chops. Like we said, they got rained out last night. Was supposed to play Western Kentucky at home, didn't happen. Bad weather, and I mean they're coming to town, and they're coming to town to sweep LSU. LSU's got to figure out a way to not let that happen. Figure out a way to win Thursday. Don't worry about Friday and Saturday. You got to figure out a way to win Thursday.
LSU is 2-7. They have played 9 SEC games. They have 21 more SEC games to go. In my opinion, and that of Doug Thompson's as well, if they go 15-15 in the SEC, that will be good enough this year, because the league is so strong to host a regional. I think 15-15 makes them a top 16 team in America. Okay. That said, 15, they've got to go 13-8, Tommy. 13-8 in their next 21 games in order to get to 15-15. They've got Vandy this week and Tennessee next week. If they can go 3-3 in those 6 games, that would be quite the accomplishment. That would put them at 5-10 in their first 15 games in the SEC, which means they'd have to go 10-5 in their last 15 games. I don't know that there's a path to 15-15. And oh, by the way, 13 wins is what's needed to get into the SEC tournament. I mean, to get into the NCAA tournament. Maybe 12 gets you in, but 13 for sure.
I haven't seen anything to date that tells me they can go 13-8 the rest of the way in SEC play. I don't care who they're playing. I mean, Missouri. I mean, it was the worst.
Missouri beat Kentucky once.
Yeah,
Kentucky's best team in the league.
I haven't seen anything. Now, it doesn't mean it won't happen, but I haven't seen anything to make me believe it will happen. Now, I'm going to be at the game tomorrow night. I got some grandsons coming up. We're going to go to the game. So I'm very curious to see how this team responds. I'll be looking at that body language and that sprinting on and off the field. I mean, you find out what a player is all about when things aren't going good. It's like these scouts. They don't want to see the guy go 3 for 3 with 3 doubles. They know he can hit doubles. They want to see what he does when he strikes out with the bases loaded, how he interacts with his teammates. I mean, there's so many other things that are going on.
It would be funny if some fans were yelling to the players when they're signing autographs along the wall, like, "Hey, you want to use my cell phone? You jealous?"
Hey, I sent you a text. Why didn't you answer me?
By the way, the Final Four is set, and there's something that's never happened before.
You have 2 schools that have a team playing in both the women's Final Four, which is a Friday, Sunday thing, men's Final Four, which is a Saturday, Monday thing this coming weekend. UConn and NC State. Probably no surprise that the women have done it, but for NC State to have women and men in there, wow, it's quite the story, including LSU in 06. There's a list of schools that have sent the men and the women to the Final Four the same year, but it's never had 2 schools do it. So there's another storyline for you.
A no-hitter. We are not even a full week into the season of everybody starting, and a no-hitter in the big leagues. This reminds me of a story I'll tell you in a minute.
Well, it's the earliest no-hitter on the calendar in Major League Baseball history. Okay, Ronel Blanco, a spot starter for the Astros at home. Here's an interesting thing: he walked former Astro George Springer, the leadoff hitter of the game. He walked him. Then he retired 26 in a row before walking Springer again, at the end of the game. 2 walks, I think 7, 9 punch outs, no hitter. First win of the season for the Astros. That hadn't happened since somebody, the Red Sox, did it about 20 years ago, where their first win of the year was a no hitter. So it's not one of those. But I never heard of Ronel Blanco, and I watched the Astros a lot. Spot starter, only because Verlander's on the injured list, and he tosses a no hitter to give them their first win of the season. 26 in a row retired. That to me is as impressive as the no hitter.
I told this story a couple of weeks ago when Southeastern. Well, it was a week and a half ago when Southeastern was in town. They had gotten food poisoning on their road trip to Natchitoches to take on Northwestern State. And in the last game, they were without a number of players because they had a food poisoning issue. And that same thing happened 20 years ago to LSU baseball. It was either 94 or 95 when they went up to Ole Miss and they got food poisoning, and they had gone to an Outback Steakhouse. Everybody ate an onion mum and the sauce was rancid. They had grabbed some old sauce out of the back of the walk-in cooler. They grabbed the wrong bucket or something, and everybody got sick. And the Tigers had literally like 9 bodies, on to play their last game of the series. Everybody else was IVs or hospital or hotel or whatever. And even the 9 that played, not all of them were 100%. And Brian Winders, who hadn't started that year, went out there in SEC play and had a no hitter through 8 2/3 in that ball game. And then he gave up a solo homer, and in the bottom of the ninth got the last out. Guy pitched a game of his life because it was like a game day decision. Like, hey, we got nobody else. Here you go. And
wow, I remember you telling me that story.
Yeah. Incredible.
That's like the old saying, just when you think you've seen it all, go to a baseball game, you'll see something different. You'll see something odd. You'll see when all the baseball games have been played, in college baseball, the major leagues, not to mention minor leagues and everything else, they still have things that happen that hadn't happened before. That's one. Baseball's driven by numbers, driven by statistics, and they always seem to add to that list.
brrugaroo.com. That's where you can go and get not only season tickets and merch, but hey, sign up for our golf tournament. Individual golfers, teams, all available May 6th. And the proceeds will benefit the Baton Rouge Youth Baseball Coalition, a new nonprofit that's going to be putting on baseball camps and doing things to improve Pete Goolsbee Field in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge Youth Baseball Coalition will be the beneficiary of all the proceeds from the B.R. Rougarou Golf Tournament this May 6th, Monday, May 6th, 10 o'clock start. Going to be a lot of fun. Celebrity event. We'll have a number of celebrities out there. You can have one on your team if you want, a 3-man team pair with a celebrity, or a 4-man team with no celebrity. Go to brrugaroo.com. Get signed up today. It will be a sold-out event on Monday, May the 6th. Tommy, tell us about Tremonti's on the way out.
Well, Tremonti's will be at that golf tournament handing you out some sausage. But lunch special today is lasagna. They'll have crawfish this weekend. That was big last weekend. They got the caterings available, on-site catering. They come to your office, come to your work, whatever you need to do. They got to do so many things at Tremonti's. You just stop by and check them out. Or go to the website, hit them up on Facebook and Instagram. Tremonti's, meat and seafood, Jefferson Highway, Baton Rouge. But good meat ain't cheap. Cheap meat ain't good.
For Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. Please like and share this video. That's your price of admission. We will see you on Wednesday. I'll see you on Friday on TGIF edition of Sports Shorts. Until then, have a great one, everybody.